I'm Andrea Giles, and you're listening to the Heal from Infidelity podcast, episode number 135, Toxic Independence. Hello, and welcome to the Heal from Infidelity podcast, where courageous women learn not only to heal from their spouse's betrayal, but to become the boldest, truest, most decisive, and confident versions of themselves ever. If you know there's more for you than the life you're currently living, but don't quite know how to get there, you are in the right place. Stick around to learn how to create a life that will knock your own socks off. Is it possible? It is, and I'm here to show you how. I'm your host, Andrea Giles. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Hello, everybody. So happy to be here today recording this for you. I hope that you have enjoyed the last few episodes where I have had some amazing guests come on. We had Lauren talking about her journey and her marriage with infidelity. We had Sarah come on and talk about people pleasing. This week, it's just me. I'm back, just me. And I'm going to be talking to you about something that has been on my mind that I've been kind of formulating and thinking about, and it's time to get this out and turn it into an episode, and I hope that it's helpful for you today. Before we dive in, I first of all want to say thank you so much for the people who have recently gone in and left reviews on my podcast. It always is so fun for me to see, just to know that there are people all over that are listening and that are benefiting from it, that it's helping. It's such a joy for me to read those. Also, when people go look and try to find a podcast regarding infidelity, it helps so much with credibility for them to go. First of all, the more reviews, the algorithm picks it up, moves it to the top so that they see it quicker. And then reading the reviews gives so much credibility to the podcast so people are more inclined to listen. So if you have not yet left a review and have thought about it, or if you have benefited from this podcast, I would appreciate it so much. This is a free thing that I do, and it does help me in return for people to leave a podcast review. So thank you for that. One more quick thing. The doors to my program are open. You can go join anytime, get your life back after infidelity. Probably the best way to learn about me and my work, if you are new around here, is to go watch my free webinar. I am doing a live webinar every week right now for the month of February. You can go register in the show notes to this. You can go register over on my website, andreagiles.com, and you can get on that, watch it. And I do share some of the details about my program and bonuses that I'm doing. So go check that out. Doors are open. The results that I'm seeing are just so amazing. So many people just a couple weeks in feeling deep shifts, deep desire to really heal and to have the best for themselves. It's so inspiring to see. Anyway, I'd love you to be in there with me. Okay, now getting into the episode today. So part of what inspired this episode now, it's been something I've been thinking about for a while, but my daughter and my husband had a car ride together, and they came home and told me about a conversation that they had in the car. And then we continued that conversation with me included. And what it was about was there's this band that my daughters, I have twin daughters that are 14, that they both are crazy about. They love this. In fact, I took them to their first concert this last December to this band, and they love them. And one of the players in the band, I think it's the drummer, recently came under big fire for comments made like 5 years ago that were not real great. Okay. Like there were things that sounded a little bit inappropriate. I think there was something that sounded a little bit racist or biased, things like that. I don't even know exactly what the comments were, but the conversation was, our daughter said, I think he's going to be canceled. I think that the band might break up because of this. And so we talked about that. And I said, what do you think about that? And she said, I think people should have an opportunity to show that they are different, that they've changed, that they've grown, that person that said those things 5 years ago is not who they are now. And I agree with her. I agree. I think that there needs to be accountability, 100%, 100%. But we live in a culture where we do cancel people, right? This cancel culture where people can just be destroyed. People who have high influence, people who are doing really good things can be completely canceled if there are things in their past that get dug up, or if they make a mistake on air, if they say something inappropriate, if they do something that others don't like. And I myself am not a fan of this because we all do this. We all do stupid things. We all say stupid things. We all have grown, right? From who we were at 18, at 25, right? We all, thank goodness, right, have the opportunity to grow. And this does not take into account any of that. It's like, this is who you are. You said this thing, so you are X, Y, and Z. And then we cut people out. And the reason why this kind of just sparked this desire in me to go ahead and record this episode that's been on my mind is because we do this to each other. We live in a time that's all about independence, looking out for number one. If it's not working for you, cut it out, cut it out, cut it out, right? And on the one hand, I am very grateful for the progress that we have made. I'm grateful that we can leave toxic situations. I'm grateful that there are so many more opportunities than there used to be for us to grow and to have independence and to be independent, that a woman can get divorced in most places, not all places yet. There are still lots of places that are really difficult for a woman to get divorced. I'm so grateful that I was able to when I did, right? But part of the problem here, though, is that what often happens is if we see something that we don't like, something that is offensive, something that is hurtful, we can go from one extreme to another so quickly, that black and white thinking. How many of you have had the experience where you maybe had somebody that you really, really looked up to, like a school teacher or a coach, somebody that was really influential, and maybe you saw them in a human moment where you saw that they were human and that they had flaws, and that feeling you have of like, oh, wow, okay. I remember this with somebody that I just thought she walked on water. It was a leader in my environment, and she's an amazing person. But I remember when I saw some things, I was like, I never would have guessed, right? It's so easy to kind of swing the pendulum to judgment. People all good or all bad, and we either have a relationship with them or not at all. Okay, so right now I'm going to switch gears a little bit and just talk a little bit more about what this looks like in marriage, in relationships where infidelity is there, which is why you are listening to this podcast. Okay, first of all, many of us, myself included, many of you listening, have been, maybe for a lot of your life, in a codependent type model where there's a lot of dependency, on the other person and what they're doing to determine our own mood, our own happiness. If they're okay, I'm okay. Waiting on bated breath on if that person is going to, figure it out and get themselves together so that we can stay, right? This is post-infidelity, like very, very watching their every move, very dependent on if this person is doing the things like getting the help and reading the books and listening to the podcasts. And if they're not, then we feel kind of desperate coming from that model, like very dependent on what they do. Lots of ups and downs. It's not a real stable or true sense of self. There's a lot of getting information of who we are from this other person rather than really knowing who we are. There's a low level of differentiation, which means we're very entwined, very wrapped up in each other, that we can't handle if somebody else is unhappy with us, if our partner is unhappy with us, because we don't have a strong enough sense of who we are. And it rocks us so much. And there's not a lot of truth telling here, right? There's not a lot of really letting somebody see you. There's not a lot of knowing the other person. What this looks like is often looking to this other person to validate how we want to be seen. Okay, so part of the reason why infidelity can be so painful is because if we are coming from this codependent model where we are getting information about who we think we are based on their actions, and then they cheat, right? And then they violate the trust and have an affair or whatever the infidelity is. And if we are getting our information of who we are based on what they're reflecting back to us, this is a perfect storm, right? This is a recipe for disaster of what we make it mean about us. because there's not this solid sense of this is who I am and this person is separate from me and made this decision, right? So from this codependent place, it is very traumatic. It is a huge blow to our own image that is shaky at best already, okay? And again, in this place, there's not a lot of vulnerability. There's not a lot of transparency. It may look like you get along great. You might look like you're good friends, very polite to each other, living very nice little lives of, you do your thing, you do mine, but we don't really talk about the deeper things. Or it might be a little bumpy too. It might be the kind of model where one person brings a lot of anxiety and tenseness to the relationship, and the other person is kind of on pins and needles from day to day, wondering what kind of mood that person's going to be in when they get home. And that person that's waiting, their mood shifts based on the mood of the person that's coming home. Okay. So this is called the codependent model. Codependent, very dependent on the other person. And this, I will just say, this was very much how I lived in my first marriage. This is how I felt, like waiting, just kind of waiting for the shoe to drop, waiting to see what mood he was in, things like that. Okay. Now, after infidelity, often what happens is the pendulum swings the complete opposite way. This is where cancel culture comes in. This is where people go to extremes. Instead of knowing the situation, instead of looking deeper for, okay, let's break this down and look at what actually happened and why, canceling them out, blocking them out, labels, statements about who this person is, all or nothing, okay? I see my clients do this. I see my clients go from kind of a codependent model, and then the infidelity occurred, and they swing over to they're bad, they're a rotten person, right? And our society backs that up. You go on any infidelity page on Facebook or Reddit or any of these places, and there's no tolerance. There's no understanding. There's no coming together to understand each other. And while we don't have to lower our standard, okay, for some people, infidelity is a deal breaker. And I get that, and I understand that, and I respect that. But I respect it when it's coming from a place that has been thought out, that's not just going with the social pressure that they might feel, right? When it's really the truest thing for them. Often what happens is the person who was cheated on feels such a huge lack of control. Like everything that I tried to do bit me in the butt, backfired, and I need some sense of control. And so they'll often swing over to this other side, which is the independent model. I don't need him. He can go do whatever he wants. He's going to do what he wants. I can be fine. Sometimes this happens after my clients learn to start to manage their thoughts, like learning that they can actually control what they think, that they have options about what they think. And backing up a little bit, that codependent model is very unconscious. It's under the surface. It's not real thought out. It's going very much off of kind of our primal fears of being abandoned, of being left out, things like that. It's very fear-based. This independent side looks different. It looks to some like it's healthy. Look, I'm controlling my thoughts. I am managing my feelings. I'm thinking about what I think, right? I don't need to let him affect me at all. He can go do what he's going to do. I'm fine. And in this space, we often put up walls that are mile high. Don't come near me. I don't want to hear any of it. Nothing you say is going to matter or mean anything. That gets completely unacceptable. I have no tolerance for what you did, and I have no tolerance for you, right? Like, you're bad. Stay away from me. This can feel really good. It can feel like we are setting boundaries. This is a deception, though. When we are in this independent state of swinging the pendulum over, or trying to get some control, or trying to feel in control, and usually it's not actual real boundaries, it's an attempt to keep safe, and to feel something different than out of control. Boundaries come from a place of self-sufficiency and self-love and self-care. This is different. This is, I don't want to deal with this emotion, so I'm going to kind of block it by putting my walls up really high. I see people staying in this place for years, and we live in a culture that praises it. It's very dangerous. We praise independent women. I like to think of myself as an independent woman, right? That I love that I can take care of myself. I love that I don't need money from anyone else. I love that I can take care of my emotions, all of those things. But there has to be another third piece here to really create the kind of relationship that I'm going to lead us into here. Okay. But back to the culture we're in, very much me, my truth, right? If your truth doesn't agree with mine, I'm going to cut you out. Mine matters most. Okay. But the problem is that if we stay in this independent place, there's no point in being in relationship with others. Like there is no room for anyone else. There's no room. In the other one, it's very overcrowded. In this other independent space, it's very separate, removed from other people. High walls, right? I actually know somebody, I know her pretty well. I've known her for years, who was in a marriage. There was infidelity. There was a lot of abuse, meanness. And she ended up getting divorced, and it's been many years now. And the pattern that I have seen is that the words she says are that she wants to get remarried, but she stays in this highly independent, like really making it her identity. This is who I am. I don't need anybody. It only will work for me if you do it my way. And what I've seen happen many times is driving people away because there is no room for them there. There's no room. There's no room for somebody else's opinion, somebody else's desires. It's more like if you can make your life fit into mine, then we can do something together. And so far, I've seen several relationships fall apart because she is still staying stuck in that independent place. Okay. There's a third option. It's called interdependence. I'm going to just try to demonstrate what this would look like on a piece of paper. I want you to visualize it. The codependent model would be like two circles that are almost overlapping. There's not a lot of autonomy. There's not a lot of just really thriving, like individuals who are thriving and choosing to live life together. There's so much overlap. What you feel is what I feel. What you think is what I think. There's no really knowing even who that person is. There's no knowing you. There's no knowing who you really are. Not a solid sense of self for either of you. Swinging over to the independent side, it's those same two circles are separate. There is no overlap. No overlap. They are living parallel lives. There's no intimacy. There's no vulnerability. There's no letting that person really know you, because that would feel scary and like weakness to let somebody really see you. Okay. The third option here, the interdependence, you take those two circles, you put them closer together, and there's a little bit of overlap and there's a lot of open space on each side. Okay. That is what interdependence is. There is some crossover of sharing lives, of that vulnerability, of really taking risks and letting somebody know you. There's also taking a risk of letting us know ourselves, really knowing who we are, knowing all the parts about ourselves that we hide, the parts about ourselves that we feel shame about, and shining a light on them and letting somebody else see us. There's also a lot of communication, collaboration, right? It does not mean that you both are doing the same things or liking the same things even. But it does mean that there's enough space there to make room for both of you, that there's a lot of collaboration to find things that work for you. Where I see this in my clients who are wanting to stay in their marriages is rather than being in these other codependent models or the independent models, they're to a point where they truly, genuinely see enough good in the other person that there's a strong enough desire to really make something work, to make it work, to build something amazing together. Like that marriage 2.0. We're not going back. We're only going forward, and it's going to be good. That's their standard. And in this space, there's often getting to know your partner in a way that you never have before. Yes, you probably never knew that they were capable of the things that they did regarding the infidelity. But there's also an opportunity to see other parts of this person, to see the good, to know them, to understand them, and for them to see you as well. And in trying to create a relationship that genuinely works for both of you, it requires collaboration. It requires lots of discussion and like, how can we both feel that our needs are met here? What do I need to take care of in myself? And what can I ask you for, right? And then there's a lot of independence. There's a lot of space here to explore yourself, to explore your own life, your own interests. In that open space, there's this not needing this person to think certain things about you for you to know that it's right for you. This has been a huge step for me in my own development. Even just in the last years, I can look at where my thought process was when we got married. It'll be 8 years in July. And I know that I came in with some things that were still pretty hurt from my first marriage. There's a lot of codependent things going on there where I kind of was wanting to be the rescuer and take care of everybody. We had 10 kids living at home, and I just felt like I needed to earn my spot there. And I can hear how ridiculous that sounds. Like I was here taking care of all these people and my husband, how sad. I can have so much compassion for me, right? And then I've gone through stages where I have swung over to that independent, like I can do this myself. I am independent. I can take care of myself. I don't need anything from him to feel good enough. And then the sweet spot for us, though, has been where we've both had to learn to be more transparent with where we're at and who we are, and more vulnerable in showing that. And for me personally, I can say that in the last year and a half or so, I've had some pretty big things happening around my faith, where I have been really exploring some things that I had never really thought about before. And it has been challenging to bring them to my husband and talk about them, because it challenges his view of things. And it has made us so much closer to be able to hear each other, to be able to talk about things, to be able to go, I don't quite understand where you're at or what you're thinking. I don't quite understand. And I might not even agree, but I see you and I trust you and I respect you. I can't tell you how far that has gone for me in my trust in my husband, my trust, my ability to know that he really does have my back and that he really does care about what is best for me, while also holding on to what's best for him. So this interdependent place is about transparency, vulnerability, truth telling. It's also about collaboration. So in those shared spaces, you're really working together to make a place for both of you. Now, I want to ask you, where do you see yourself here in this pendulum swing? Where do you see yourself? Do you see yourself over in the codependent place? Do you see yourself swinging from that over to independent? You might hop back and forth. Or do you feel like you're moving towards the interdependence? Now, many of you listening are not with somebody who developmentally is in a space where they can create this interdependence. Many of you are getting divorced, or are really leaning that way, or maybe are already single. What I want you to know is that developing the skills to be able to be aware enough to be in this interdependent space will serve you no matter who you're with. It's the ability to let people see you. It's the ability to not have to be in this super black and white space. There's more nuance. There's more compassion. There's more knowing and being known. Okay, it's a beautiful place to be. So no matter if you are with somebody or not sure if this is somebody you want to be with, you developing this is going to go a long way for you. And you developing this, those of you who don't know if they're with somebody who can build this, you pushing this standard forward, this is the kind of marriage I want to have, is going to show you if you're with somebody who is willing to grow in that way. Okay, you're on the same side of the table. collaborating to create a space you both can be in. Okay. One of the dangers that I see is that often after infidelity, what my clients will want to do is call all the shots on all the things. They will say, basically, my way or the highway. You do it my way or not at all. And I understand it. I understand it because you've been so hurt. And it may at first be needed that there's time like where it's all about you and what you need to heal, right? The problem, though, is that it can turn from a consequence to a punishment. And when it becomes punishing, no one wins. Okay, no one wins. There's no room. There's no room there for you both to have a healthy space. And really, do you want your partner to be in this kind of punished, you're in trouble, you should feel shame space forever? What would that do for you over time? Nothing. Okay, it would make you feel worse. So you would have to carry the emotion of that, of having to remind them that they wronged you and that they let you down and all of those things that you need to carry to maintain that independence. Okay. I'm telling you that the middle ground here is where you want to be over time. Doesn't need to happen right away. But if you want to get out of this punishing mode, if you really want to invite this person into the kind of marriage that you both are just delighted to be in, we have to have the guts. We have to have the wisdom to stop punishing and to invite and to know and to be known. It's hard. It's uncomfortable. And it's the most rewarding thing because this is where you get to have the relationship that you've always wanted. Is it a bummer that a lot of it had to come to pass because of the infidelity, because of the crisis that kind of forced your hand of really looking at these things? Yeah, it would be great if it wasn't about that, but it is, and here you are. And so if you've decided to stay in your marriage and you still find yourself in this kind of punishing mode, I invite you to check in with yourself and go, is this getting me what I want? And if it's not, then I invite you to look at what else could be possible instead. All right, my beautiful friends, this is what I have for you today. Again, like I said at the beginning of the episode, my program is now open. Doors are open. You can join, you can get on the calls, and we coach around this stuff all the time where people come with their exact situation, the stuff that they are currently dealing with, and I coach on it. And I give them help specific to them of really looking at where they're getting stuck, where they're slowing themselves down, and helping them to get really crystal clear on what it is that they're wanting and why, and helping them with their path forward. It is powerful, powerful work. We are taking the heartache, we are taking the pain, and we're turning it into the biggest growth of our life, where we have so much respect for ourselves. I invite you to come and to hop into the program. All right, take care, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to the Heal from Infidelity podcast. If you would like to be kept in the know about upcoming free classes, new podcast episodes, and other ways of working with me, go subscribe to my weekly email. You can subscribe at AndreaGiles.com/lies-about-infidelity/. Again, it's AndreaGiles.com/lies-about-infidelity/. I will see you next time.